Hey dudes, Khraze here, back into Marvel's Avengers, and today we finally have an ETA for the update 1.30. So it seems that we're getting this either by tomorrow or at the very most by this very Friday. It's going to be the biggest update as of yet, and since the game has launched a couple of weeks ago, and it is going to contain a ton of very important changes and fixes. We have some details on that from one of the community managers, but more important, we do have some info on another form of compensation that EpidemicSounds is getting ready for us for all of those challenge points that you've likely lost in the past couple of weeks. So let's jump right into it with all of the details, and as always, a thumbs up on this video would also be super appreciated. Anyway, let's begin with this announcement. Based on our feedback mentions Crystal Dynamics, we are moving to a single global content refresh and challenge reset time and day. So starting with our upcoming V1.3.0 patch anticipated by the end of the week, challenges will reset every Thursday at 10 AM PT. So this includes all of those challenges for the challenge cards, and there's going to be a unified time when all of this is going to happen. For this week, you can keep any challenge points earned now and 1.30. As a token of our appreciation, we will provide 22 challenge points per superhero to all of the players who have logged in prior to the refresh to account for the shortened challenge period. And of course, these points will be available to claim until Thursday the 24th at 10 AM PT, so basically up until next week's refresh when it's going to happen next Thursday. But it does sound like you only need to log in once and play for like a second at the very least, and you're gonna be able to claim all of those challenge points for all of the heroes. It doesn't appear that you need to actually complete any of these challenges with any of those heroes. You just need to log in once during this time frame, and you are going to be able to claim those 22 points per hero. And by the way, you will get these with the patch, so once the patch drops and you already played, you should be able to already see them over there and be able to get them. This has been confirmed over on Reddit, so I think that this is also going to be the route that we're going with. Nonetheless, when referring to the update 1.30 dropping at the end of this week, it actually means by the end of the business week, as it has already been confirmed by one of the community managers over on Reddit. So this means that the update should drop either tomorrow on Thursday, which is going to be September 17, or by Friday, September 18. So any day now, I think it might drop right after the reset, so after the Thursday reset when we get the challenges reset once more. At the very least, this has been the initial speculation, but I could also see the update only dropping on Friday since it seems to be quite large. And by the way, it seems that the update contains at the very least about 7 pages or more of these patch notes, so that's actually quite a big one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another 10 GB plus update that you might need to make some room for, so you might want to get ready for that. You might need an internet connection, of course, and you might need to have a good enough speed before this patch actually downloads. It remains to be seen again, but we do have a lot of bugs that actually need to be addressed in the meantime, and we've talked about many of these. Of course, you already are familiar with them. Some of them are quite game breaking, some of you haven't even been able to play the game at all, or very few, since some of you do have some of those infinite loading screens. As I've mentioned in some of the previous videos, for some of these there are some workarounds that you can go ahead and test out, and some of them actually worked for me too, so you might want to do that too. And in the meantime, I would also recommend playing the game in offline mode. Yes, there are some exploits that can be done in the offline mode, but it does seem that the game is way more stable when you don't connect to the internet. So maybe close off the application entirely, turn off the internet, and then restart it and choose the campaign over there and just play from there, since it is going to give you those initiative missions too in there. But I've talked about some of those loot clarifications, and yes, they are coming too. So the same community manager came in and clarified that they are working on some clarifications around loot that was actually asked for quite a bit. There's many questions still regarding the loot, like, is this all that we can expect from the loot? It doesn't seem that exotics are that unique compared to legendary gear, and in many of the cases it seems that exotics are basically on par and even worse than legendaries. I got this exotic right here, and it doesn't feel that much more powerful to even an epic at this point. Even the stats are actually quite low, so I can only wonder what's their purpose outside of just being another grind that you have to complete in doing those elite heroic hives. And speaking of elite heroic earthquake hives. Is that the only source that we have for many of these exotics? Because I would really like a low chance, even if it's low, to get it from some kind of boss and whatnot, since we're kind of defeating them over and over again, especially in the villain sectors. And also on the same kind of point, are we getting more unique effects in the future? We did see a few of these already making their way in the game, like some people already got some stats that are kind of specific and kind of hint towards the upcoming update, especially the ones with the Techion upgrades that are direct references to the Hawkeye update and the Techion project that of course is a part of the story and whatnot. So all of this, according to the same community manager, it seems that they are going to drop by the end of this week, and this time around is going to be by the end of the weekend, which means that either on Saturday or on Sunday when we get to actually see it. So probably we're gonna see it as a blog post that will bring some more information on that. Nonetheless, on a final note, this also means that many of the offline farming methods might get fixed during this 1.30 update. So if I were you, I would go in and try to get the most out of them right now, since the game can be a bit of a grind. So there's a few of them in there that can actually give you a ton of legendaries. Some of them can give you a lot of polychoron. Like one for the legendaries that is really a favorite of mine is just going in and farming any elite aim unit, then going about 140 yards away from it and coming back, and usually you should be able to see it respawning. Like for example this mission right here, one of the first faction missions for Shield, is super easy. You just go on the left side right here, there's an elite aim unit spawning, go in, clear the entire camp, run 140 meters in the opposite direction, and once the timer runs off and you respawn, if you go back you should be able to see it completely respawning, and you can refarm this entire process over and over again. The same goes with the polychoron. You can go ahead and complete a set of daily assignments in the online. Once you have completed that, you can turn off the game and restart it in the offline mode, and you're going to see that the NPCs for the factions will give you another set completely new that you can complete once again. And I would also argue that we should also go ahead and complete some of those missions that we've talked about, since this doesn't have those server side fixes where you don't have the guaranteed rewards with the legendaries at the end of them anymore in the online, but you still do in the offline mode of the game. But this is it with the video. Of course, if you enjoy it at any point, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on it, maybe even subscribe and consider activating the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.